Rio Grande Valley Radio. We're joined in the studio with New Mexico 49th District Representative Gail Armstrong. Good afternoon to you both.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Reese. This is Vocal with Val, and it is actually still morning, Reese. It's not afternoon, so.
That's that coffee thing, right?
And you folks might recognize where we're at. We're at Socorro Springs Restaurant. We want to send a shout out to Casey and Pam McFadden for letting us use the room. We're actually the only ones here in the building. They are open for to-go orders, and everything on their menu is available. They're open from 11, so they're open now all the way till 7. And I know my son loves the pizza, just plain pepperoni. I like the Alfredo, but everything else on the menu is good. My daughter really likes the French fries here, so we want to send a shout out to them. They're actually one of the businesses that's on the list of gift certificates that the county is giving out. If you fill out your census and take back the confirmation number, we'll talk a little bit about that later. But my guest today again is Representative Gail Armstrong, and I'll let you introduce yourself, Gail.
Oh, thank you, Val. Thank you so much, and thanks for having me, for the invitation to be here. Thanks to Reese, who does a phenomenal job with the Rio Grande Valley Radio, and I live in Magdalena. I am up for re-election. We have a ranch, a cattle ranch in Magdalena, and a gas station, and a hotel, and a few other businesses in the metropolitan area. And I'm just honored to be here, so thank you for having me.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your role as an elected official, a representative in some of the boards and committees you sit on that you think are important.
Well, probably there's two that are near and dear to my heart, and I've been on Health and Human Services, and the Appropriations Committee is a new one that I'm on, which, of course, right now, as everyone knows, is going to be some difficult decisions coming up during the special session, looking like we're going to have it to middle to late June.
Wow. And you also sit on Finance, the Legislative Finance Committee. Those are going to be important because the halt of the economy right now is going to affect all avenues of business in the state. One of the things I'm concerned about is the education, the funding for the schools, especially like pays to teachers and aides and coaches and janitors.
Yeah, I think we've been on a few phone calls recently that they're telling us that they're really going to shoot for the low-hanging fruit first of all, and then they'll branch out. We've got a lot of hard work ahead of us. We're right now. The needle keeps moving, but around $2 billion in the hole. So we're not in good shape at all, and that had really nothing to do with COVID. It had everything to do with oil and gas prices just going in the tank, oil prices, and so. But we do have the reserves, and this looks like something that we might have to tap into that reserve for, and we're going to have to be very careful on what we do with that.
Now, how about any assistance from the president, from federal funding?
Yes, there's going to be federal money coming in to help because of the COVID. What's happening is the GRT for the counties are down. Everything's down in New Mexico. Businesses are closed down. So there will be federal funding. Right now, we're in talks trying to figure out: is the governor just going to use that to her avail, or are we going to use it to actually balance the budget? Just recently, I was kind of upset, but we got a call from a county manager, that said that the DFA had sent out an email that all capital outlay had been ceased if it was not encumbered from 2019 and 2020. And I was really upset about that because that's money that we bring back to our constituents. And that the legislature wasn't aware of it until after it happened. So DFA sent out that email, and so I'm encouraging them to look at every capital outlay project individually to make sure that it's something that really needs to be taken off the table. With a $2 billion shortfall, you know, $120,000 isn't going to make a dent in that. I understand the importance of balancing the budget, but let's see how that goes. And then with the federal funding coming in as well, I think we need to look at the whole picture.
And speaking of capital outlay, I was looking at some of the project you and Senator Ramos helped allocate funding for. And one of the ones that stuck out to me was the senior centers. In the counties you represent, there are a number of senior centers that really needed some help the last couple of years. And they were earmarked to receive money to help not build senior centers, but help refurbish the kitchens and bathrooms and stuff like that.
Yes, maintenance, more maintenance, and a few remodels. You know, just everyday things like the warming tables and some things like that. But the new cabinet secretary, Katrina Holtram Lopez, has been phenomenal in meeting our needs. When we ask for something, she's on it, and she really cares about our seniors as well as all of us do. And this a lot of people are now they're homeschooling their children, my grandchildren, and the grown man who breaks down in the middle of Walmart while I'm shopping and recognizes me, I don't know how, but and says, "Gail, please do something, help me." He's in tears, begging me to help him open his business because he's about to lose everything. And in that same sense, being very aware that this virus is a horrible thing, and this is going to affect every single person in New Mexico, either with a death, with someone catching the virus, or with the economy, the hit that the economy is taking. So it's going to affect every single New Mexican.
So what have you heard as far as like through the Workforce Solutions Office, all these businesses and workers getting supplemented those funds that were promised?
Well, if they applied for the PPP, I think it's called personal. Anyway, it's for their payroll.
Yes.
Most businesses got that if they applied for it, and it runs out June 3rd, I believe. So they need to be paying their employees. There's certain implementations that they have to do and reporting facts, but just having payroll isn't enough. Payroll doesn't pay the rent.
Yep.
Payroll doesn't pay for all the refrigerators running. I think the businesses that are affected most, in my opinion, are going to be the restaurants and the salons and barbershops. Because a lot of salons and barbershops, they pay booth rental, so they're pretty much self-employed. And right now with Workforce Solutions, they're giving additional money. So a lot of people that are on laid off are making more money than they did when they were working, and that could be a problem going back to getting people back to work.
Now, I know you represent a lot of municipalities. I think our mayor has to be commended a little bit about the effort that he put forth right at the beginning, implementing the mask. He's gone and talked to all the businesses, either him or a representative from the mayor's office, and they've been very enthusiastic about being innovative and creative on how they stay open. Socorro Springs is a great example. Are you seeing the same thing in the other municipalities that you represent?
Yes. In Belen, we have our Believe in Belen that's going around. Socorro Mayor Basker, so that was Mayor Jared Cordova. And he's been doing great. They've been doing a lot of Facebook Lives. They had Facebook karaoke on Saturday nights, and a lot of things to implement, trying to reopen in a reasonable manner, following the CDC guidelines and following what the governor is asking us to do. And I encourage people to do that. Mayor Basker has been instrumental in being ahead of the game. I even sent his paperwork that he put out for being able to reopen the guidelines to the governor's office to say, here's a start. You might think about this. This is what the mayor of Socorro is doing. And he's been instrumental in trying to get the businesses reopened, but at the same time being responsible with the CDC guidelines.
And I think another thing he can be commended about is letting people know in a timely manner what's happening. He uses social media. He takes a lot of hits sometimes, but he gets a lot of thanks from the community for informing us about what's happening. So I'm comfortable being here. There's been very few cases here in Socorro. Magdalena, you told me earlier, doesn't even have a case yet. Most of our cases in Socorro County are in Alamo. And what's the plan in Alamo? I know they've shut down borders. I know they've been very diligent in some of the efforts now.
Well, I'll be honest. I don't represent Alamo, but they are my neighbors and my friends. Because I'm from Magdalena. They've, our kids go to school together. My daughter taught out there. But I got some news yesterday that I shared with the governor's office that, even when they shut it down, they're not really shutting it down. They're not looking at, they're not putting up roadblocks. Apparently, there's only one police officer out there. A couple of years ago, I begged the governor, this was a different administration, to do something about that because they can't seem to keep the police officers out there. They have to wait for police officers to come from the big res. So I shared that with the governor's office saying, it's shut down, but it's not really shut down. There's at least 4 ways out of Alamo, and there's a lot of dirt road, back roads. But if they don't put roadblocks up and really try to handle that, I don't know how that's going to happen. I feel horrible for the community. I know Tara Jaramillo and her team have been instrumental. Mayor Basker, the county commissioners, even ZW, the mayor in Magdalena, have all been instrumental in trying to get Alamo as much help as they possibly can get. And it's not a surprise. People are acting like it's a surprise that Alamo doesn't have a lot of water.
Yeah.
It's been that way for years. Don't be fooled by, oh my God, I can't believe that. They haven't had. So shame on us for not taking initiative to build the infrastructure that they need and at the state level and at the federal level. The federal level, they need to do something about implementing some good situations on our pueblos and tribes.
And I know on social media, you mentioned Tara Jaramillo. She's been very vocal about asking for assistance. So if anybody out there wants to help, I encourage you to look up Tara Jaramillo's social media sites. She's always informing us about what's needed, what you could donate, where you can take that to. So I think that kind of covers everything with the pandemic. I know it's been difficult. It's a balancing act, keeping people safe and from not getting sick, waiting for the vaccine to come, and then keeping businesses open. So it's a big juggling act. I commend all our elected officials in Socorro County, including yourself, to keep all those balls in the air without dropping them. So good job to everybody. Today is graduation. So I want to talk a little bit about our graduates. I think in our county we have 3 high schools, so we want to send a big shout out and congratulations to those 3 high schools.
Yes, I personally wrote a note to every single, I didn't personally write the note, but I wrote a note and sent it to every single high school senior graduate in Socorro, Catron, and Valencia County. And mainly because I want them to stay positive. I want them to know that stuff happens and you have to stand up, hold your shoulders back, and move forward. And every single person's life has changed by this, and we're adults, and it's hard for us to deal with it. So I can't imagine a young adult and children trying to deal with what's going on in this society. And I just want them to know that we support them, we're behind them, and we're beside them, and we're behind them to encourage them to
Absolutely.
move forward in the best way that they can.
And I was thinking about this. In 2 years, I'll celebrate my 40th class reunion.
Oh, Lord.
So back in 1982 was graduation, and I'm thinking and looking back, and I know that we've lost a lot of my classmates through different things, through whatever illnesses, sicknesses, accidents, overdoses, whatever it has been. So I'm sending out a challenge to our high school graduates that they take care of each other now, and in 10 years from now, at their first 10-year reunion, that everybody that graduated today attends that reunion based on the efforts that they do now to keep you safe and recognize that you got much future ahead of you.
Yeah, that's a great challenge.
So that's out there to all you graduates. Congratulations from all of us. Reese, I'm sure you might want to chime in and say congratulations to all our happy graduates, and high school and New Mexico Tech as well is having graduation
Yeah.
today or tomorrow.
Yeah, technically New Mexico Tech is having theirs on Saturday. Today at 6 p.m. Magdalena is holding their ceremony, and at 7 p.m. Socorro High School is holding theirs. And their parade's on campus here in Socorro High School. And a big congratulations out to all of them. It's been a pleasure watching you and covering you under Next Gen Warrior Sports with Kenny G. And really fun to be part of our schools in our district here. And look forward to many exciting changes to come. And wish you a bright future. As Val said, hold on to the future. As Gail said, square your shoulders and remember who you're riding for, and get her done.
So one other thing, we got a couple more items on my list to talk about. This is 2020, and every 10 years we have a census. And it's important for a lot of reasons to be part of that census and be counted. Can you talk a little bit about why it's important to you, Representative?
Well, first of all, the census only comes around every 10 years. I represent the largest district in the state on the House side, and a lot of it is rural New Mexico. So when this came about, I was asked to be on the governor's complete count census, or complete count commission. And one of the reasons is because Catron County was the worst counted county in the nation. And that doesn't surprise me. They asked me why. They asked me, we sat in a room full of people trying to figure out why. And I know the reason why. It's because it's very rural. It's pretty far right leaning. And when you say I'm from the government and I'm here to help, they slam the door in your face. And I'm okay with that. But the thing that people need to know is that infrastructure, anything good that comes to New Mexico is because of how many people are here, and where they're at in the poverty. The other thing the reason that we need to be counted, one of the biggest reasons, is we're getting ready to redistrict. People forget this. Every 10 years, we get all kinds of infrastructure money from the federal level that helps with our schools and our facilities as far as nursing and clinics and things like that. But we also get redistricted every 10 years. And it's all about where the people are. So if you want to be in a certain district, you better get counted, because the district lines are all going to change and move depending on the amount of people.
Absolutely.
So people forget that it is redistricting in 2021.
And I know 10 years ago, the Alamo used to be in your district, and because of the census, it was moved to a different district. So it isn't that the Alamo got kicked out.
No.
It's just because of the numbers, it was divided differently.
Yeah,
this
the
time.
numbers are, we have about 30 to 33,000 people that each one of us represent. So it depends on, from where I live, they go out from there. So it's on where you actually live. But the biggest thing is that we need to get a good count for this infrastructure that can be brought to New Mexico, and it brings in jobs, it brings in companies from out of state that want to move to New Mexico to create some jobs.
And the infrastructure could be anything from roads.
Roads.
It can be schools and money to school districts. It can be housing is important. Education.
Yep.
The Head Start program relies 100% on federal funding. So homeless population, that's one of the least accurately counted
Yes.
groups of people are those that are homeless. So if anybody knows anybody that's homeless, reach out to them. It's a very simple process online. I've done a number of them. The county is actually doing a gift card program. If you do your census, you get your confirmation number, take it to the county managers, and you get a $30 gift certificate. Socorro Springs participated in that. Many of the other businesses participated in that, and I do know that those cards are disappearing. So if you wanna, don't do it just for that reason, but if you wanna get your gift card, fill out your census as soon as you can.
I wanted to just add a little bit to that. So, every household is supposed to get an envelope that has a census number. And that number is what, you really need that number to be accurately counted. You can fill out the census online without the number, but when someone shows up at your house, which they will do if you fill it out without the number, they're gonna show up at your house. Please be cordial, take the information and fill out the census again with the number. Very, very important information. So rural New Mexico has a lot of PO boxes. The census does not send to PO boxes.
Ooh.
So I would need everyone to know that because this is so important. So please, even if you filled it out online without a number, a census ID number, wait for the census workers to come to your house, they'll give you a number and fill it out again. So important. Please, I'm begging you to fill it out.
Now the other thing that's happening right now is we're voting in the primary elections. And because of the pandemic, a lot of the county clerks throughout the state, the Secretary of State's office, sent everybody a ballot application. If you didn't get a ballot application in the mail by now, you're probably not going to get one. If you do want to vote by mail, you can contact the county clerk in your area to get that done. You still have time to do that. But I encourage you, if you want to vote and vote in person, they're doing voting in person right now at the clerk's office. It's very safe. I was there the very first day of voting. I was actually the first one to vote. And our county clerk, Betty Saavedra, had things set up very nice. You go in, they have a little pad you sign. Everybody remembers that. They give you a little wooden stick. You get to sign with that. You throw it away, so you know that nobody else has touched that
that's
stick.
good.
And they don't put the pens in the booth no more. You take your pen with you with your ballot. You fill it out. You put your pen in a little box. And then they sanitize those again, so you're always the first user of that pen, and then you exit out of a different door. So I really like the way our clerk has things set up. I know a lot of people are worried about vote by mail. Oh no, they're gonna throw my ballot away. How do you feel about early voting?
Well,
Representative?
the biggest thing is that I just need to reiterate that it's actually absentee voting. It's something that's been implemented for years. We've always had it. It's nothing new. It's the same thing that we've done for years. It's not a new mail-in ballot. It's absentee voting. And so Val's exactly right. They sent out an absentee request form. So you request your absentee ballot with that form, and then you should get it in the mail. But I think it's the most important thing that we can do is exercise your right to vote, whether it's by absentee ballot or in person. They're both, you just need to be able to be counted. Please let your vote count. That is one thing that I can't say enough is you should be able to go out and place your vote absentee or in person.
So that pretty much covers all the things I wanted to talk about. I want to thank the representative. I want to thank your husband and you for representing and sponsoring the Isotopes baseball. Especially the little orbit truck that drives around the field. My son can never wait for that little truck to come driving out. He follows him. We used to know the handler there, the sponsor for Orbit. We've met him a number of times. We've gone to different events with him. He's one of my son's favorite characters, and everybody knows Gogo has all his characters
Yes.
with him. So I do want to thank you for that. Have you heard anything about the baseball season, the Isotopes?
I have not. Right now, everything is just on hold, as well as I do. It's just, we're taking it one day at a time, and I haven't heard whether they're going to have they'll probably have a season, but I don't know about people being able to be in the stands.
Well,
So
well,
we're hopeful.
maybe you could bring the little truck and Gogo can drive it around town. So
Sure.
that ends our little interview today. Again, I'd like to thank Socorro Springs for letting us use their facilities. I want to thank Reese at Rio Grande Valley Radio. I also want to thank Free Space Ranch Internet Services. Reese is starting this internet service in particularly to help those students in Socorro County and in other areas that don't have internet service. So he's working with the school system so that if this pandemic continues through the fall, and it probably will, the distance education will continue there as well. So we're working hard to try to get that internet service to the kids so that they can participate in their
That's
education.
good.
All right, Val. Well, thank you very much, folks. You've been listening to Vocal with Val, and that is brought to you by Rio Grande Valley Radio, your local media station here in the city of Socorro. New Mexico Representative Gail Armstrong, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate you having in the studio. And again, as Val said, this is being sponsored by Free Space Ranch, all things wireless, a new broadband service provider. Our mission right now is to try to get over 100 kids in Socorro County that aren't connected to the internet. It's one of the reasons they've been handing out manual packets and things. And as we move to more online education, the school's done a very good job of being advanced with a lot of online platforms with Google and things like that. But when they leave the home and they come home, there's a great deal, many of them, that are disconnected from that online environment. And Free Space Ranch is working to connect them. So we want to thank you very much for watching. And we'll put this up here. This is Gail Armstrong. She is running for re-election. So make sure you consider her when you go to vote. And this here is Free Space Ranch, the one-man hanger back here. All right, thank you very much for listening. We're going to sign off then. Have a great day. We'll be back tonight at 7 p.m. We'll be covering live with Kenny G, the Socorro High School graduation. You get a lot more there, so join us tonight again on these platforms. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, and our Rio Grande Valley Radio webpage. We're live from the city of Socorro, New Mexico. This is Ranger Reese signing off.